Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Movies.
The movies,
That's what we do.
They've returned.
They have definitely returned.
They have
They're
returned.
here.
It's you know what? It's been done. They've been back. I think
movies have been back. That's the new saying.
They've been here. Yeah. The movies have moved in.
Yep.
Yeah. The movies have unpacked.
Yeah.
The movies have
They're
unpacked.
stretching out. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Nope. Negative.
Nope.
No siree.
Nope.
N-O.
Did you know that the very first assembly of photographs to create a motion picture was a 2-second clip of a black man on a horse? And that man is my great-great-grandfather.
Great.
There's another great-grandfather. But that's why back at the Haywood Ranch, as the only black-owned horse trainers in Hollywood, we like to say since the moment pictures could move, we had skin in the game.
Listen, this is the latest from Jordan Peele.
Yes, the latest spine-tingling tale from Jordan Peele.
Yeah, this is obviously we're going to spoil it.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's, if you listen to the show, that's what we do. So if you have any interest at all in seeing this movie, I would say slap that pause button, keep our voices in limbo, run out and see this movie, and then come back and hit play. And we'll wait for you. We'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here. And frozen in time.
This movie really, the less you know about it going in, the better.
Right. If you only saw one trailer, it would be nice. Although I saw a lot of the trailers going into it just because they wouldn't fucking
stop.
Stop. And I would say that while it felt like the trailers were giving too much away, I would say it wasn't.
Not really. It's they confirm it's aliens pretty early, so
yeah, but there's a twist there. And so let's get into it. First of all, Tom, how did you like this movie?
I mostly liked it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think I'm like 95%.
I think I'm closer to a 90. I think
that's fair.
This movie is pretty great. I think the ending is a mess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. The ending is interesting. The ending is very weird, and that we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I was my only big issue was I felt like a couple of little moments were a little confusing. Specifically, Steven Yeun has the reveal of what he's been up to. They don't really give it like I was almost confused by it.
They don't plant quite enough seeds there.
Yeah, and
there's a few moments like that.
Yeah, there was a couple moments that were felt a little rushed or unclear here and there. But generally speaking, I'm can't wait to see this movie again.
Yes, yeah, it is mostly pretty great. He's Jordan Peele continues to be pretty solid director, pretty solid writer. This movie is very frightening.
Yes.
Particularly Act 2 is fucking scary.
Yes. And it's there's a few things that make it really scary.
Yeah.
And a few ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked about this on Hypecast, I predicted this was going to have to do with like wrangling. Like
we were pretty close. We were pretty close.
Yeah, we weren't close on who was being wrangled. So as the trailer shows, it's a horse ranch, a Hollywood horse ranch, with this brother and sister, and their father died.
Yep.
Which
Keith David got a nickel through the face.
Nickel through the face. And Jordan Peele is this is what I love about Jordan Peele.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good at starting with the stuff that seems really bizarre, and then as you go, you're like, oh, I see why that existed.
Yep.
But he knows how to get you through the door, because that's not actually the beginning of this movie. Beginning of this movie is a fucking chimp covered in blood on what looks like a set, a TV set.
Full of dead people.
And you see it in the trailer a little. And I remember watching the trailer, and there's some beautiful moments of the trailer. One is there's a woman looking up, and you can see her face is scarred.
Yes.
And I every time I saw it in the trailer, I was like, what is that?
Yep.
What's going on there? And then there's parts where you see like a chimp's hand. You're like, what is that? Those are directly related. And what's interesting is it's not directly related to the main plot necessarily.
The theme, yes, but
thematically, yes.
Yeah.
It deserves to be in there, but it begins with a bloodied up chip on this like sitcom set, and then it goes right into the movie. The beginning credits are very telling, but you don't know what you're seeing with the credits
it looks
as well.
Like it looks like the aperture of a camera, right? It's the camera's
right,
eye. And that's like kind of how. Well, I mean, spoilers. That's kind of how the alien looks and Stephen Wen even. Jeez, I'm sure we're butchering his name.
When
he even says like he refers to the ship as the viewers. So it's like the ship is the camera almost to a degree. It's got one eye, you know.
This movie means something. It's not as like there's this expectation with Jordan Peele is like, what's your movie going to be about? You know, I would say this one is a little more relaxed than Us and Get Out, but it's definitely talking about black people in Hollywood and basically getting erased from the history of Hollywood. That's a big theme.
That exploitation.
Yeah.
Specifically exploitation of animals, but it extends to everyone in movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it really. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Where it's exploitation of people for the sake of films, and it's anybody who isn't basically top dog, and so
and even
that's you see it in the trailer. She's talking about this first person on film is a black man on a horse.
Yeah.
And nobody knows his name, and it's not making.
But they know the name of the white guy who shot it. Apparently, exactly.
And it's the idea. There's basically saying both the horse and the man are kind of forgotten. Obviously, the man is more important, and so there is a comparison where they talk about animals as well and the exploitation of animals, and it's about these descendants of this man who have an alien. Basically a UFO starts showing up on the ranch, and that happens way quicker than I thought it would.
Almost immediately, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another part that I would argue felt a little rushed, which is like their acceptance of what's going on. I felt was a little, but again, not a big issue.
I don't think it's that big. Like people are into some crazy shit.
Yeah,
nowadays.
That basically the movie has to get these people kind of together and on the same page. So they decide we're going to film this. We're going to get like the definitive look at UFOs. And that's all. Yeah, that's all in the trailer as well. They go to the equivalent of a Best Buy, and they have this guy Angel.
That's an actual place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you not seen it? I thought we've driven past that place.
Oh no.
Oh
but
man, no. That's a real electronics store.
Oh, cool.
With the UFO crashed in the front.
That's great. Yeah. They get all this equipment to film it with the help of this guy Angel. Which again, I feel like Angel's another character where they have to kind of rush him getting involved because there's like little things like that where it's like I don't think it's a big problem. I just think the characters are a lot more willing to get involved than people normally would be. There's a little like heightened reality in the way they act, I would argue.
There's a couple of characters, Angel and Horst, the Michael Wincott character, who just kind of do things because the movie needs them to.
Yeah, I would say the Michael Wincott, they make him weird enough that I'm like, okay. Like, I sort of like was
it's still,
fine.
And I get what he was going for, like, because, like the third act of this movie is both Jaws and also a
Jaws,
a toxic film shoot.
Yes.
It's like a Coppola auteur, Kubrick screaming at Shelley Duvall type of toxic. Because the idea, like we were talking about thematically, one of the things is anything for the film, right? The film is the most important thing. Yeah.
And again, like Daniel Kaluuya, who plays OJ Haywood, which is it's fun. And they have like one moment where someone goes, "Your name's OJ." And he's sort of the black man on the horse.
And that's
exactly what he is. He's the expendable person trying to get the shot for this auteur director, basically.
Yeah, but they're the filmmakers too. And so we'll get to it, but there's like, the guy who crashed on his motorcycle. They were just leaving him out there. They were just going to let him get eaten.
Yes.
And like they all throw caution and safety to the wind to get footage of this alien.
Get a shot. Yeah, all they want is a shot.
Yeah. And there's one more oh shit. The fact that he's named OJ, that's very much on purpose because the exploitation of the whole OJ trial, Yeah, it's like we really forgot that there were two people who got savagely murdered, and it just became this like Stephen Wen even says like later on, rather than recite the story of the chimp going crazy on the film set that he was on when he was a kid, he just tells them the SNL version instead.
Yeah, which is an incredible scene.
It makes sense, like because it goes into a flashback of the actual event, and it's horrific. So it's like one, that's how he's dealing with the trauma, and then two, it has that meta level of like the touchstone is not the actual people who had this horrible, savage violence done to them. It's the goofball media sensationalism around it that we all have this as our memory of it. And I think that's why his name is OJ, and that's why I wouldn't have thought anything of it except somebody immediately is like, your name's OJ? Yeah.
Stephen Yuen? We're going to keep doing that.
I'm going to look it up so we stop embarrassing ourselves.
He plays Ricky Park. He's doing an amazing job in the sense that he is, like you said, he has horrible drama, and they're doing this thing where they keep showing his trauma. They keep showing the flashback, and then him in regular
Stephen Yeun. Apologies, everyone. Stephen Yeun.
Sorry, apologies to Stephen Yeun, who is listening. Big fan of the show. Yeah. He's so happy-go-lucky when they show him as an adult, and then they keep showing this horrible, traumatic experience.
Yes.
The monkey, the chimp attacking, they make it as brutal as possible.
It is one of the most upsetting things.
Yeah, because he's basically as a child star under this table, and they keep showing us pieces of it, and he is watching as this chimp. Basically, I don't think he kills anybody, but he mauls.
Oh, he sure does. The TV mom and dad are certainly dead.
No, because she's the woman in the.
No. The woman in the that's with him in his like Wild West town is the girl who played his sister on the show.
Oh, okay. So she just got horribly mauled.
The chimp ripped her face off.
Right. Okay, so it killed the mom and the dad.
Yes.
And he's watching under this table.
Yeah.
And the first shot of the movie reveals to kind of be his point of view.
Yeah.
And the chimp approaches him at the end, and one of the whole things is that the show they were on was known for him fist bumping the chimp.
Yeah, they invented the exploding fist bump, apparently.
Yeah. According to him.
Yeah.
And so what happens is the chimp goes up to him, and he's looking at him through the tablecloth, and that's the important part.
Yes.
They are not making direct eye contact, and he goes to fist bump, and then they shoot the chimp in front of him, and it's done really well. So that is almost like the side story the whole time. Because that character, he doesn't last the movie.
No, and he sort of becomes that problem, right? Like we learn what he's doing.
It's almost about like he processed his trauma in a very fucked up way.
Yeah, and it's he's also, but also he started out as a child star, and like the whole idea of exploitation, like. He was a little boy, so there already is so much around, whether or not child actors should be a thing, and how like it's.
And they certainly shouldn't be around chimps. Like that's the whole fucking thing.
That's like the additional level, because it's already there's child stars have they grow up to be messed up because of the pressures of being famous when you're so young, but then like the second level is the fact that this child should never have been on set with a fucking chimp.
Right.
Like They get, like 9 times out of 10 they're fine, but like, man, that's a wild animal. Like it's so that's another aspect of the movie is that it's like being behind the camera.
It should be noted.
Like, anyway.
Yeah, I want to make it very. This is important, and the movie doesn't try to make like they're not trying to make this evident, but it's evident. The chimp used in Nope is CGI.
Oh yes, yes.
And I think that's important to note.
Yes. Yeah.
They do not have a real chimp
involved.
No. And they're sort of showing why.
Yes.
Because chimps are hyper intelligent, and one would argue we should not have them in captivity. Period.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what they're. Yeah. And so the chimp basically snaps is the idea because the balloon bursts on
the balloon pops. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that whole character, but that's again a side character. He runs this like Wild West town that is just like a little grifty Wild West town for the kids, right? And that's near the Haywood Ranch, and this you get the impression it's all on the outskirts of Los Angeles because the idea is the Haywood Ranch is also like since Pop died, Keith David, they haven't been getting work. It kind of starts with them. That's part of the trailer. Is them doing that intro. Is they're on set for like a commercial, and then the horse they go to do the check the lighting, and the horse catches its own reflection in the ball. It's a specific reflector ball that they use on set, and it kicks, and it almost kicks the actress, one of the actress. So they get booted off of that.
And it's important that
and that's how they made Michael Wincott.
Yeah, he is trying to tell them that whole time that the horse needs a break. Don't stand behind the horse, and they're not listening to him because he's not.
No one's listening.
He's not very assertive.
Right, and it's that's part of it where it's like it's almost like the most popular person in the room, the biggest voice, the biggest personality gets everybody's attention. No one is paying attention. They're just trying to get the shot. It's like, oh, we can go. Can we go? Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Yeah. And he's trying to tell them the horse isn't ready.
The horse is not ready.
And it's the exploitation. It's the okay, let's push it. Let's go.
Not listening to him. The animal's just a prop. Like it's it's that whole every sequence has something to say about the theme. Pretty much. Yeah.
So they're trying to get this fucking UFO on camera, and it's picking up the horses. It's eating the horses.
It's eating the horses. That's the second act reveal. Are we jumping ahead or what are we doing?
Oh no! You just using the term eating is. We should probably explain why.
Yeah, in the second act, the big second act reveal is that the UFO itself is the alien, and when it's not sucking people up into a mothership, it is eating them. Yeah. Horribly, by the way.
Horribly. An amazing fucking...
An incredible sequence. Yeah, because it kind of disarms you, and it's the first... This is halfway through the movie. This is like right at the midway point when this reveal happens, that everything has... it's like he's playing with the popular understanding of UFO culture. So we're not prepared for this reveal.
No, it looks like a UFO, right?
Yeah, it looks like a UFO. So we think we're about to see these people get abducted, and nope. It's not what we're seeing.
Yep.
Unintentional, by the way. That was unintentional.
Yeah. The name, by the way, has very much to do with the exploitation, because the term nope, I would say, I don't know why. I'm sure part of it is he named it that because that's a very catchy title, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody remembers Nope. It's very funny, and characters go, oh, nope, when they see something that's scary. But it also has to do with almost like the concept of a hard line, like a resistant, where it's what happens when an animal says nope. Like that's it. Yep. That's the idea, is the chimp, the horses, it's you push something, you exploit it, and then it says no more. And that's part of the theme of this for sure. So the thing is, it moves like oh man, there's so much to talk about. The way he shoots the UFO is so good because it's glides.
So creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's silent. And that's important.
It's always like corner of your eye too.
Yeah. And so like there's parts where like they're like looking up at the sky, and it's like a horror movie. It's like you said, Jaws is very much the ending, but it's also like looking into water where you're like, where is it?
Yeah.
And it's like sort of goes between the clouds real quick, and it's so silent, and it goes really low and goes really high, and and the reveal, is that it is a creature, so that's why it doesn't need any like natural or unnatural propulsion. And this isn't its final form. Spoilers. So like it looks like a disc, but that's
hell.
not. Yeah,
I was
but that's
not
what it
expecting
is.
that.
Neither was I, but it was like when it happened, I was like, "Fuck!" Of course.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah. So the reveal is that at this what's the character's name? Jupe. At
Jupe,
his park.
Jupe. Yeah, that's Stephen Yeun's character. It's because he owns it's called like Jupiter's Claim or something.
Jupiter's Claim.
So they call him Jupe.
And so the reveal, and this is what I thought was a little weird because they don't give enough time, is that he's been buying these horses up from the ranch.
From Haywood, yeah. From
Haywood.
Yeah.
And we learn that he knows this thing has been there. And that's what they reveal it by him sort of just like telling the crowd it. And at first I was like, is this like a coincidental lore that he's making up? And he's going to feed it the horse.
Mm-hmm. So that's what he's been doing. Like like one of the first scenes we see is his OJ's sister Emerald shows up. They go down to Jupiter's Claim to talk to Jupe about
Keke Palmer, by the way, who
she's great in this.
She's great. She's also not. It's because Daniel Kaluuya got like he gets first billed, and I was like, that's weird. And then watching the movie, you're like, oh, they should be kind of credited.
They're co-leads. He's more of the lead, I would say, because you see most of the movie from his point of view.
Yeah, it's surprising because the trailers don't necessarily reveal that.
Yeah, like, I guess it's hard because I'm not sure. I don't know. A lot of his scenes would like give away too much. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, and he also isn't. The whole thing about his character is he's very solemn.
He doesn't speak a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a particularly like charismatic guy or character rather in this. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it, I think.
Yeah. Oh shit! What were we saying? Oh, so he goes to Jupe's place to sell him one of his best horses, Lucky, who becomes a main character unto himself.
Right.
And also he wants to sell him to negotiate starting to buy back some of the horses he sold. And like Jupe kind of reacts a little strangely to that, but still is like, yeah, we can talk about that. Sure. Yeah. But then sort of allows the subject to get changed, and it doesn't make sense quite then, but like once you learn later on that he's been buying these horses and just letting them go to be fed to this alien, he doesn't have those horses anymore to sell back to him.
He cannot return those horses.
Nope, he sure can't.
Yeah. And so going back to what we were saying about the coin going through fucking Keith David's head, it's again, the thing where you're like, that's odd. What an odd thing to happen. I'm sure they'll explain it. And this is why I love fucking Jordan Peele. Is the reveal is that it's eating them and it's spitting out their clothing and change. That's what's happening.
Anything that's not digestible. And oh man, that scene where it just vomits blood all over their house is horrible.
Yeah.
That was such a fucking gnarly ass sequence.
Yeah. So what happens is Jupe basically invites all these people to come watch him feed this.
He's been doing it weekly for like 6 months. We find out every Friday he's been doing this.
Yeah, and something goes wrong this time. And this is another big theme. Is that it's in the trailers, it's in the posters. Everybody looks up. Because of course you would. It's a UFO. What we learn, and it's very clear when you look at the ship, is that you're not supposed to look it in the eye. That's the idea. Mm-hmm. It looks like one big eye, and you can sort of see in the trailers where people are saying don't look at it and stuff like that. And so what we learn is that much like the chimp, much like the horses that get spooked, it gets spooked if you look it in its basically its hole.
Yeah, if you look it in the eye. Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't get spooked, it gets mad. It's like territorial. Yeah. And there's this they introduced the idea of territoriality. He's got this one horse named Ghost that they were never able to train. And Michael Wincott is like watching, he's really into like old nature films, and he's watching all these movies of like predators. Including one with an octopus, and that's like foreshadowing because that's how the alien eats.
Yep. It also him watching old movies, and then the first movie of the the guy and the horse, that plays into the fact that electronics fail when it's around. So guess what they have to use to capture it? A crank film camera. So that comes into play too. Like all these themes tie together so well. It's delightful. So yeah, the ship vomits all the blood and the change and stuff on the house, which is sort of seen in the trailer as well. And so this is where we get, I think, into the third act, which is Michael Wincott shows up. It starts making the news that all these people disappear. Oh, the terrifying scene is that it eats all these people, and they show them like squirming through its digestive tract. And you can, since the goddamn thing is silent, all you hear is screaming.
Yeah, you hear a chorus of people screaming, and you hear it a few times in the film.
Yeah, the horses as well.
Yeah, and in the first scene when Keith David gets a nickel through the eye, you hear it. And so, like, you know what it is. Like, you know it's people screaming. So going into the movie, you're like, oh, those are the people who had just got trapped aboard the ship. But the additional reveal that they're actually being eaten.
Yeah. That's what you're hearing.
It's so fucking frightening. Just this cloud of screams moving through the sky.
And at one point, the alien does a little Kegel, and all the screams stop.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the blood goes down. So it kills them all in one crunch.
Yep.
It is horrifying. Horrifying idea, really well executed.
Yeah.
So creepy.
It's really awful.
Yeah. And so in the third act, they're still just trying to get the fucking thing on camera.
Yeah.
And they're starting to feel like they're going to get beat to it. And that goes back to the exploitation.
Yeah.
It goes back to the idea that they know that if someone else gets it, or if they don't get these shot, they're just going to be a footnote.
Right, and they're
like their great-great-grandfather.
Exactly, their great-great-grandfather, who we learned was the jockey on the horse. If we didn't say that already. And specifically, they're about to get beat out by TMZ. So it goes back to like the OJ thing, the SNL thing. It's where our touchstone is going to be this weird exploitative media sensation rather than the fact that 30 people got fucking eaten by a space amoeba.
Yeah.
Like, horribly, too. Horribly
eaten.
Yeah.
TMZ, shows up, and they don't last long. He's on an electric bike, which is funny, because it's like, I don't think they make too many of those, but like for the sake of what's about to happen, because again, it shuts down all electronics, so the motherfucker rides his motorcycle right under it, and the bike just stops.
Yep.
Which again, I don't know if that's how electric bikes work. I feel like they don't, but it's very funny. And he goes flying off of the thing.
Right.
That's when they take a beat and they almost don't help him. And then OJ goes in to help him, but kind of can't. And he ends up getting sucked off.
Well, because the guy won't stop worrying about his camera, worrying about getting the footage, telling him you're going to be famous. So again, it's that idea of anything for the shot, anything for the film.
Yep. Which is what happens also to Michael Wincott.
And this is one part. This is where the finale kind of starts to fall apart for me, because they get the shot. Everything's fine, and then he randomly looks over and sees the sun setting. That's like, it's magic hour. I gotta go get the impossible shot. And it's like, we see him like, we didn't get enough of this character to justify that. Like, he has has this Quint moment where he has to go climb out on top of this mountain and get this handheld shot of the creature's eye, like in the end of Twister. And he basically just goes out and lets himself get eaten so he can get this crazy footage. And he just randomly gets up.
What they needed was they needed like a more history of him.
Yeah.
Of like, because the idea like that he's a famous cinematographer is how they frame it.
Yeah.
Is it would have been really good to frame him as like a Werner Herzog type, or like someone who like has just been known for working on really dangerous situations. Like they needed to give him a little more history so that
like
his eccentricity should. Because what basically happens is he's eccentric and he's like, I got to get this shot. In turn, he endangers them by doing this. That's what it's all about.
Right.
Is he doesn't fucking care.
Right. And he's playing, I get it. He's playing the Quint role. Like, but we didn't, there weren't any seeds planted about his obsession with the perfect shot or the impossible shot. There was no reason for him to suddenly stand up and say, I'm going to walk to the top of this ridge and get this shot, get myself killed and get everybody endangered. Like it is out of nowhere.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have his character kind of show up earlier.
Yes.
And again, I would argue most of the characters, that was my biggest issue, which is that ultimately I could do the work to understand where they were coming from, but I got that feeling with a lot of them.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I've been feeding this. And it's like, what? Like those moments where it just felt very abrupt. Although, again, they do the work with the ape and all that. But like I guess I needed a little more lead up, which this movie's over 2 hours long, so I have a feeling maybe there was a little bit cut out.
There must have been, but that first act drags for a while, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that I agree with you. This movie's biggest flaw is that its characters are sort of underwritten. So they just kind of do things that don't make any sense just for the sake of the plot.
Right, which I wouldn't say they don't. Yeah, that's the thing, is they don't make any sense, but they could easily make sense if you knew a little more about them.
Yes.
And so that's all. And so basically OJ has to do like a standoff with the thing.
Yeah,
this is when the ship unfolds.
Yes.
So like the ship is actually it can unfold into what looks like a giant flower, like a veil.
It kind of looks like the aliens from the Abyss a little bit. It's like this giant, like it looks almost like some sort of sea life, like marine life.
Yeah.
And it's like mouth again, like it starts flaring its mouth at him. That's like changing colors and making these loud noises. And again, it looks like a camera.
Looks like a camera, for sure.
But yeah, so he has to distract the alien on his horse. And at this, like before, he had been like, sort of his character was, not super assertive. So he's like not making eye contact with people a lot. And that had served him sort of accidentally with this alien. But now he's like looking it straight in the eye to distract it so his sister can get away.
Yeah. And Emerald, sister, gets away on the bike. It's a good idea. The electric bike, it's a silly, sudden thing to add because it's just what are the odds that someone rolls in with an electric bike? But also like a car, it's not impossible.
A car won't work either. Like a regular car won't work either if the electronics shut off. So it's like, why did we need specifically an electric bike? I don't know. It's fine. It was a weird thing to put in it. So he's luring the creature away from the electric bike so that it can turn back on. So she gets on it, and then it starts chasing her into the western town. And the western town has this thing that was properly set up. It's a wishing well that takes pictures up at the sky where you're looking down into it. So she starts, she lets a big floating balloon guy go. Yeah, like
and
a winking cowboy.
Yeah, as we've established, it doesn't like inanimate objects. It eats a dummy horse at one point, and it hurts it. So she knows, like, okay, let's see if you'll eat this, you motherfucker. And this is very Jaws.
It's extremely Jaws, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's taking photos of the sky using this wishing well while the thing is floating above, and it's literally smile, you son of a... Like, that's the idea, only the difference is she's trying to just get a picture of it.
Yeah.
And she does, and it eats the thing, and the thing explodes in it. And it basically, it's the alien, since it's so frilly, like it's fragile. That's kind of the reveal, is that like, that pops it in a way, it damages like it. And then it's just sort of fluttering in the sky, which was really cool looking.
Yeah, like the balloon kills it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
she gets her shot.
Yeah. I thought that was a little, I don't know. I didn't buy that.
And Daniel Kaluuya is alive and the movie ends.
Yeah.
You didn't buy that the balloon would kill it?
I did not buy that the balloon would kill it.
Interesting. I was okay with that. So the thing about it that felt... So I didn't have as much of a problem with the ending as you, I don't think. But I would say ending on, and she got this one photo of it, felt... Because it should be noted, it destroys all the film, right? It
eats all the cameras, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought the idea was like, it's not... In the end, it's not about that. And they kept saying is like, if you just get a picture of it, well, people fake pictures all the time. So it's that idea of, I guess the idea is she will probably not get that glory, right? That's sort of the ending.
She gets the photo developed, but as she looks over, there's already swarms of news crews arriving that are filming the dead alien as it's falling out of the sky.
You could argue she gets the only picture of it alive.
Yes.
And so that does count for something.
Yeah.
But it's at that point, it's like so many people died. Like, it's weird to be like, and she got it, because that's the whole point of the movie is it's who cares, you know? People have died, which I would say the movie isn't necessarily forgetting that. It just felt like, I don't know what I needed at the end there. It felt like it needed something.
It was a
but
weird,
maybe...
yeah, it was a weird ending. Like there was like no, I don't know. Like it's,
the ending is that her and her brother basically because we haven't talked about the characters between her and her brother, but that's the actual, their arc completes. Is that her brother and her are sort of like at the beginning distant.
They're estranged,
Yeah, there's a dynamic there I wanted to talk about, which is that her brother is the guy who does the work. He does it throughout. He says, I got mouths to feed, there's stuff to do. She will not do the work. She's the face.
Yes.
So it's very much, again, a dynamic about exploitation in Hollywood, which is that whenever you watch a movie, there are so many people that you don't see who are doing really hard work that never really get the actual glory, credit. And that's that happens, you know, people literally get things stolen from them. And so that dynamic is actually between these two siblings, which is that she does none of the work, but she has the ability to do the actual speaking. And it's a reveal that in the industry, that is more important than doing the actual work. And I've learned, I learned that in film school. It's that thing of like, it doesn't matter if you can write a movie, you got to sell the movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And she also has these side gigs that she keeps trying to plug. Like, she's very much trying to sell herself, and he's very angry with that idea. Meanwhile, their dad kind of made him be like, promised her a horse and trained it with him. And so like she was pushed out by her dad.
Yeah.
So it's like they're kind of also pointing out like inherent sexism and like nepotism and stuff. And so like this like different dynamics of like desperation and how this industry is just not fair. It never has been, right? It's not about who you are. It's about the right place, right time.
Yeah.
And who's willing to be exploited the most. That's kind of it. So there's a dynamic between them that sort of like gets resolved-ish at the end, but I would argue there's not a big rift between them in the first place.
It's not a huge rift. It's just some resentment between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another level of it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like at the end, she's finally done the work. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that works.
I think that works. Again, it's funny to, we're trying to have a critical eye on this movie, but like, I just enjoyed it.
No,
like,
yeah, like I
from beginning to end, I just really enjoyed it. And these are sort of afterthoughts of like, how it's put together and stuff.
Yeah,
like it's hard because he's only made 3 films and it's hard to, I don't want to compare any of his films. This one is so different. I can't say I like it more than the other 2. It's more of like, this is all of his films are so fucking unique.
Yeah, they really are.
And this one really scratched an itch for me, is what I want to say.
For sure. Yeah. And like we said at the top, I mostly really enjoyed this film, but I wouldn't say I'm like it's less me. Like seriously, for me, it's a little more severe. Like at the moment Michael Wincott just stands up and announces he's going to go die so that more plot can happen, the movie lost me.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Like I was like, oh, okay, so that just fucking happened for no reason, and then like it pops a balloon and explodes, which I get that they set that up, with the chimp. And it's the same thing that happens to the shark in the end of Jaws, like a tank of compressed air explodes in its mouth and kills it. It just seemed weird that a parade float balloon, and not even the size of a parade float, is what kills this alien. Like it just really, I didn't buy it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like, from like that point on, the movie kind of loses me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's more than fair. I would disagree in that I bought the parade float exploding enough because those things can really those things are
There's a
very
lot of air in it.
pressurized.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
air in it. Yeah.
But I get it because it is a little messy at the end for sure.
It's a messy ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy watching him pull horror from things that nobody does. And, like that's the thing. Before this movie, and maybe these are good movies, I don't know. But like they had the fucking trailer for like Pray for the Devil. And it's just like,
yeah,
jerk,
a lot of
jerk off moment.
Real garbage horror movies.
Just jerk off hand motion.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, another exorcism movie. Oh, is someone gonna are their eyes gonna roll back? Oh, are they gonna make an arch with their back and float?
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Is their voice gonna change? Is there a character that they're gonna be like, they're coming for you? Like it's so with movies like that, and that doesn't represent all horror, obviously, but it's incredible to me that Hollywood can just fucking limp out with those movies still, where it's like the exorcism of blank.
A lot of popular horror has become extremely rote.
Yeah,
lately.
Pray for the Devil, like Jesus fucking Christ. And so like in the environment that we have to see a movie like this, it's just always so refreshing. And there was this thing that went viral recently where someone compared him said he was like better than John Carpenter or something like that.
No, it
wasn't exactly that.
No, it was somebody saying, has any horror director made 3 great films in a row, or let alone 3 great films in their entire career?
And then people pointed out John Carpenter, and that person said, like, I don't think so. So the point is that the internet started talking about Jordan Peele in the context of John Carpenter.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I love John Carpenter. I wouldn't make that comparison, but I do understand what the person's talking about, or rather, I do see a little John Carpenter in Jordan Peele, which is that in the sense that, like, John Carpenter used to make these films that were incredibly unique. I just watched Escape from New York and LA, but Escape from New York, it's like, what a weird fucking movie,
Mm-hmm.
The Thing. These are... Yeah.
In the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness.
In the Mouth of... Yeah, he made these movies that
Big
were...
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, this is a madman. He's a madman.
And so, like, Jordan Peele and John Carpenter aren't the same person at all, not the same director. But what the only similarity that's really fucking worth noting is that Jordan Peele starts with these premises that are unique.
Yeah.
He wants to do something unique every time, something we haven't seen before.
Yeah. I think that the initial post was more about the person who wrote it hasn't watched any horror movies that were made before 2015. It was more. Yeah. It's more about like this recency bias that has gotten worse and worse and worse.
For sure. Oh, for sure. I would just argue that Jordan Peele actually deserves that. He deserves to be recognized for these movies that he's making. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, what?
I think he will be regarded the way John Carpenter is.
Maybe even more so because his movies have been more commercially successful on their theatrical runs.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. His movies are so amazingly unique. Like such I'm so. And I'm like I said, the movie loses me at the end, but I still like loved 90 to 95% of this film.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is a very good movie.
Yeah, it's just his ability to I've been trying to mimic his style now, because what he does, and he's not the only one who does this, he just does it so well, is he paints a complete picture, and then he says, okay, how would this look to this character? What's the weirdest perspective of this that we can start with? And that's what makes the horror happen, is taking this idea of like a government program that makes doppelgangers. That's so silly.
Mm-hmm.
What if we saw it from this perspective? What if we started with a fun house that just happened to be a way into one of these programs? We don't understand what we're seeing, but it's so freaky and weird. And then you slowly peel the layers. It's like a mystery box, only not. It's better than a mystery box.
Yeah.
Because it's not arbitrarily revealing it. It's giving us a character and showing it from those characters' perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so how naturally weird that would be from that perspective. Why is this guy standing on this beach with his arms outstretched? What a weird thing to happen at the beginning of this. And by
Yeah.
the end, you're going to go, oh, that's why. And it's the same idea. It's like, why would a fucking quarter shoot through Keith David's head? What is that? What's happening? You know, like these moments, he's so good at perspective and setting up. And I would argue, like we talked about Jaws, this is very much him, I think, thinking like Spielberg in a few places.
Oh, absolutely.
When it goes over the house, they do this bit, and it's so smart, where it's raining out. It's raining out, but suddenly around the house, the rain stops.
Yep.
Because something's over them. And that's one of those things where it's like, why hasn't that been done before in a UFO movie? That's so obvious. It's like, yep, it would block out the rain, wouldn't it? That's so creepy.
Yeah.
He's so good at that. At just
It did
knowing-
remind me of the abduction scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it reminded me almost of the T-Rex scene where it's this slow, like this presence that's out there.
It's a lot of it's using these abstract ideas to represent the monster.
Yeah,
and, like,
and not showing it.
And that's what Spielberg does in Jurassic Park, Close Encounters, Jaws, etc. It's
Yep,
a lot of
and-
other filmmakers do it as well, but it's so effective, especially in horror.
Yeah, Peele is just so good at that, where it's about this ship is shown like from the ground. It's from, we see it all from the characters. And that's what makes horror, is you show it. That's what makes something like Jurassic Park do a scene like the T-Rex and make it horror, where it's like, we're in the car for it. We're not showing much outside of the car. And it's the same way here, which is we're going to show this all from the perspective of the characters, this very big idea, but you're seeing a very small portion of it. And it's so fucking vital to do that in movies like this. And he nails it.
Yeah, it's very, very well directed. He continues to just be really good at it.
The camera is very often over the shoulders. You know, it's right there.
A lot of that. I noticed that as well, and because I was thinking about Jaws, especially once Act 3 started up. But like you see, like there's a lot of handheld.
Yeah.
And like Jaws, it's just I don't know. It's very, very well done. This movie.
Yes.
So good.
He's such a good fucking director.
He really is. He's an incredible filmmaker.
Yeah. And you could argue all he's doing is looking at what works with movies.
Yeah.
What the classics, and being like, oh, that's why that's good. It's just so fucking nice to see someone know what they're doing and try to make something original and unique and make it well. And so, there's always going to be things that I don't love in these. He's bound to make a movie that I hate, I'm sure, at some point. Spielberg made movies that I didn't like.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, all good direct. I'm just saying Jordan Peele is like, he's I don't know, he's one of my favorite directors right now.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I'm always excited when I hear about a new one. Yeah. So I don't have too much else to say.
I'm a simp. They say simp, right?
Yeah, I think the kids say
I'm
that.
a Jordan Peele simp.
Yeah, for sure.
I have nothing else to say.
A simp for that chimp in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beating the unholy Christ out of these poor sitcom actors. My
so
God.
Funny. Yeah. Again, this is what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Where it's like, shouldn't have had that chimp.
You really shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chimp taught you the hard way. Shouldn't mess with a chimp. All right, cool. I guess we all.
I think we're all
here?
set, man. We're all. I've said all my words.
Cool. Hey, thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
If you're interested, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. If you go on there, you can find, for just $5 a month, we have a bunch of exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder's a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. We just did a free Fox Mulder.
We sure did, Dave.
You should not miss. We also watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. That's it.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you'll find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So check that out.
Yeah.
And don't look up.
Don't look up. That's what they should have called this.
I've seen a few people making that joke. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Don't look up.
No, just us. Just us. We're the first people to make that joke.
That's that and fucking up Stephen Yoon's name.
Yep.
Like a couple of dumbasses.
Yeah, we suck.
We're so good, Dave. We're so good at this.
We're fine.